The sound of leaves crunching underfoot echoed through the damp Appalachian woods, a familiar symphony for Evan, the dedicated park ranger. He had spent nearly a decade wandering these trails, each step a testament to his commitment to the land. The morning fog clung to the trees like a ghostly shroud, wrapping the world in a muted silence. Light filtered through the thick canopy above, casting an ethereal glow on the vibrant greens and browns of the forest floor. Today, however, something felt different. There was an unease in the air, an almost palpable whispering, as if the forest itself was urging him to look deeper. As he rounded a bend, something caught his eye, a strange dip in the earth, cloaked in a carpet of decaying leaves. Curiosity piqued. Evan paused, his breath visible in the chilly air. He leaned forward, using his sturdy walking stick to sweep aside the foliage. What lay beneath was an entrance, dark and narrow, leading into something forgotten. The chill of the air bristled along his skin, a stark contrast to the warmth of the sun breaking through the fog. Evan hesitated, a mix of apprehension and intrigue swirling within him. This was not the first time he had encountered remnants of the past in these woods, but this felt different, more alive somehow, as if it were beckoning him. With a deep breath, he made his decision. He had always been drawn to the stories hidden within the trees, each whisper of the wind carrying the weight of untold tales. Today would be no exception. He descended into the dimness, the smell of damp earth and old wood filling his senses. The air thickened and an uneasy silence enveloped him as he stepped into the dugout. Light filtered through cracks in the wooden structure, revealing the remnants of a life once lived. A crude bench, a wall adorned with peeling paint, and there, meticulously arranged, were a series of school notebooks, their spines cracked and worn. Dust motes danced in the beams of light, swirling around the artifacts of a forgotten childhood. Evan stepped closer, his pulse quickening. They were dated between 1979 and 1982. Each cover bore a childlike drawing, vibrant yet faded, capturing the innocence of youthful imagination. As he reached for the first one, a name scrawled in familiar looping letters sent a jolt through him. A name he hadn't spoken in years, a name that carried the weight of unresolved conflict and long-buried guilt. The air thickened with memories he thought had long since faded. As he flipped open the notebook, the words breathed life into moments of laughter and dreams shared long ago, before a rift had torn them apart. It all felt so distant, yet the emotions surged anew within him, fierce and unrelenting. The past, it seemed, was not so easily buried. Evan stood in the dimness of the dugout, the weight of the notebooks heavy in his hands. Memories swirled around him like the dust motes illuminated by the thin shafts of light. He could almost hear the laughter and whispers of his childhood echoing through the forest like a haunting melody. The air was thick with nostalgia, but also with the bittersweet remnants of a past he had tried so hard to leave behind. Growing up in a small Appalachian town, Evan had always felt a profound connection to the land. He spent his days climbing trees, exploring creeks, and running through fields with friends who shared his love for adventure. Among them was Jamie, a spirited girl with wild curls and an infectious laugh. They made a pact to be best friends forever, sharing secrets and dreams under the stars. The two of them were inseparable, bound by a friendship that felt as solid as the roots of the great oaks that surrounded them. But as they entered their teenage years, things began to change. Life had a way of pulling them in different directions. Evan's family struggled financially. They often had to work late into the night to make ends meet. His father took on extra shifts at the local coal mine, while his mother worked long hours as a waitress at the diner. This left little time for Evan, and he found himself drifting away from the carefree days of childhood. Jamie, on the other hand, was full of ambition. She was bright and talented, often the star of school plays and the driving force behind community events. As she flourished, Evan felt like he was standing still, watching from the sidelines. The summer of 1982 was the last time they truly connected. Long evenings were spent on the porch of her house, talking about everything and nothing, sharing dreams of distant futures. They would gaze at the stars, mapping out their lives, vowing to be there for each other no matter what. But as the sun set on that summer, so did the warmth of their friendship. An argument over a misunderstanding, a miscommunication that spiraled out of control, left a rift between them. It was the kind of fight that at the time felt insurmountable. They parted ways, bitter and hurt, and as the months passed, they drifted further apart. Now, as Evan flipped through the pages of the notebook, he caught snippets of Jamie's life. Each entry was a glimpse into her world, filled with hopes and fears, dreams forged in the innocence of youth. The handwriting was unmistakable, a flurry of loops and curves that danced across the pages, filled with drawings of their adventures, climbing the highest hills, exploring hidden caves, and sharing secrets beneath the starlit sky. One entry caught his eye. It was dated just a week before their fight, and the words tugged at his heart. "Evan is my best friend. I hope we never fight. I want to be an actress, and I want him to be there to see me on stage." The innocence of the sentiment struck him like a physical blow. How had they let a simple misunderstanding tear them apart? He could feel the weight of regret pressing down on him, heavy and unyielding. Memories of their time together flooded back, each one a reminder of the connection they once shared. He could almost hear her voice, lightly teasing him about his clumsiness or the way she would scrunch her nose when she was deep in thought. Those moments had shaped him, yet they had also created a chasm between them that he had never crossed. The further he delved into the notebooks, the more he realized that Jamie was not just a part of his past. She had woven herself into the fabric of his identity. Each drawing, each entry was a testament to their shared experiences, yet there was also a hint of sadness in her words, an undercurrent of loneliness that Evan had never noticed before. It was as if she had been searching for something, someone to fill the void left by their broken friendship. Suddenly, a sharp noise from above snapped him out of his reverie. The sound of branches cracking and leaves rustling echoed through the dugout, pulling him back to the present. He glanced up, heart racing, but the forest remained still, the fog lingering like a solemn witness to his discovery. The unease from earlier crept back into his chest, intertwining with the warmth of nostalgia, creating an unsettling tension he couldn't shake. He took a deep breath, reminding himself to focus on the task at hand. The past was calling to him, but he needed to confront it with clarity, not fear. He placed the notebooks aside, determined to explore the dugout further and understand the significance of this hidden relic. Why had it been concealed all these years? And why did he feel as if it was meant for him to find? Evan began to inspect the small space more closely. The walls were damp, and the air was thick with the scent of moss and decay. As he moved deeper into the dugout, he stumbled upon a small wooden box tucked away in a corner. Its surface was worn and scratched, but it carried an air of importance. With cautious hands, he pulled it out, brushing off layers of dust that had accumulated over time. The moment he opened the box, a rush of memories flooded back, things he thought he had forgotten. Inside, he found a collection of small trinkets, a faded photograph of the two of them, grinning and carefree, taken on one of their many adventures, a friendship bracelet, the colors faded but still vibrant in his mind, and a small rusted key. The key seemed out of place, its purpose lost to the ages. Evan's heart raced as he held the key in his palm, the cold metal contrasting with the warmth of his memories. What did it unlock? A chest of secrets? A door to the past? Or perhaps it was a symbol of the opportunities he had let slip through his fingers. The questions swirled around him, each one heavier than the last. He sank down onto the crude bench, the wood creaking under his weight, and closed his eyes for a moment. The world above felt distant, the forest a mere whisper. As he sat in the stillness, he contemplated the path his life had taken since that fateful summer. He had buried the pain deep within, succumbing to the demands of adulthood, but the feelings of guilt and longing remained. In that moment of reflection, he understood that this dugout was not just a relic. It was a mirror reflecting his own unresolved conflicts. The past had a way of resurfacing, demanding attention, urging him to confront the choices he had made. He opened his eyes, resolved to face the memories head-on. The notebooks, the box, the key, they were all pieces of a puzzle he had neglected for far too long. Evan took a deep breath, allowing the weight of his past to settle around him like a cloak, and prepared to confront the shadows that had lingered for years. The journey of remembrance had only just begun, and he would not turn away this time. With renewed determination, Evan began to explore the dugout further. The light filtering through the cracks illuminated small nooks and crevices. He noticed the walls were not just damp, they were etched with carvings. Curious, he leaned closer, brushing his fingers against the markings. Names and dates were scratched into the wood, some faded, others more recent. Among them he spotted a name that sent a chill down his spine: Jamie. Next to her name were the initials of other friends from their childhood, each marking a moment in time, a connection forged in the innocence of youth. The more he read, the more he realized that this dugout had served as a sanctuary for many, a place where memories could be hidden yet cherished. Each carving seemed to tell a story, a testament to the bonds formed and broken within these wooded hills. Evan felt the ache of nostalgia wash over him again. He wondered how many others had shared their secrets within these walls, how many had found solace in the solace of the forest. As he traced Jamie's name with his finger, a wave of regret washed over him once more. He remembered the last time they had spoken, the hurtful words exchanged in anger. How had it come to this? They had both been so young, so foolish. In an instant, the world had shifted beneath their feet, and what had been a friendship built on laughter had crumbled into silence. Evan's heart ached as he thought of all the moments they could have had, all the adventures they could have shared if only they had chosen to communicate rather than let pride and misunderstandings drive them apart. The further he delved into his thoughts, the more he felt compelled to reach out to her, to seek forgiveness and offer his own. But would she even want to hear from him after all these years? Would she remember the same happy moments he cherished? Doubt crept in, casting a shadow over his resolve. He felt trapped between the desire to reconnect and the fear of further rejection. Suddenly, the quiet seemed to close in on him again, almost suffocating. The weight of his decisions pressed heavily on his chest. What if she's moved on? He thought. What if I've missed my chance? The forest felt alive with possibility, yet he felt rooted to the spot, uncertainty gripping him tightly. Evan glanced at the wooden box, the key still resting heavily in his palm. It was a key to something more than just a physical lock. It was a key to unlocking his past, and perhaps a way forward. With that thought, a sense of clarity began to take shape. It would take courage to confront the ghosts that haunted him, but he knew that the first step was right here in this dugout. As he gathered the notebooks and the small box of memories, Evan took a moment to breathe deeply, inhaling the musty air filled with history. The echoes of the past whispered around him, urging him to embrace the journey ahead. Perhaps this key held the answer he had been searching for, a chance to open the door to forgiveness, to reconnect with a part of himself he had long buried. He emerged from the dugout into the soft light of the forest, the fog slowly lifting as if granting him clarity of purpose. The world felt different now, refracted through the lens of his memories and regrets. Each step felt lighter, yet purposeful, as he navigated through the trees. The path ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in a long while he felt a flicker of hope, a chance to mend the past and rediscover the bonds that once tied him to Jamie. Evan walked back along the familiar trail, the sounds of nature enveloping him once again, the rustling leaves, the distant call of a bird, and the gentle hum of the wind weaving through the trees. He could feel the forest surrounding him, not as a barrier, but as a guide, leading him toward a reckoning with his past. The journey of remembrance had opened his heart, and as he moved closer to the town, he made a silent promise to himself. He would find Jamie, no matter how difficult the path ahead might be. He would seek forgiveness and try to rekindle the friendship that had once meant the world to him. The past had a way of haunting him, but now, with the notebooks and the key in hand, he felt ready to navigate its complexities and embrace the potential for healing. As he emerged from the cover of the trees into the sunlit clearing, Evan felt a rush of determination surge within him. The journey was far from over, but he was ready to face whatever came next. The shadows of the past had no power over him anymore. It was time to step into the light. Evan stepped out of the dugout, the memories and emotions swirling in his mind like the mist that clung to the Appalachian hills. As he made his way back down the familiar winding trail, each step felt heavier with the weight of his revelations. The sun had begun to break through the clouds, casting dappled light that danced on the forest floor, yet the lightness of the day didn't quite reach him. A sense of urgency pulsed within him. He needed to find Jamie. The path wound through trees he had known since childhood, their gnarled branches reaching out like old friends. In those moments, they seemed to whisper secrets of the past, reminding him of laughter shared beneath their boughs. But now, the silence was deafening. The memories he had unearthed in the dugout were too fresh, too raw, and he felt an overwhelming need to confront them, to seek closure in a way he had never dared to before. His mind raced as he thought of Jamie. Would she remember those carefree days? Would she want to see him after all this time? As he walked, he imagined their reunion, the awkwardness, the tentative smiles, the possible flood of emotions. What if she harbored the same regrets? What if she had moved on completely, leaving him behind in the past where he belonged? The day wore on as he navigated the winding roads, the sun climbing higher in the sky. He reached the small town where he had grown up, the streets lined with familiar shops and diners. The diner where Jamie's mother had worked for years still stood, its red and white striped awning faded but proud. The scent of fried food wafted through the air, mingling with the smell of gasoline and the earthy aroma of the nearby mountains. It was a comforting smell, grounding him in the reality that he had returned. Evan stepped into the diner, the bell above the door jingling softly as it swung open. Inside, the ambience was warm and inviting, filled with the chatter of locals and the clinking of dishes. He scanned the room, his heart pounding as he searched for familiar faces. The regulars were seated in their usual booths, but the sight of them only intensified his anxiety. He missed Jamie's laughter, her bright spirit lighting up the room. He approached the counter, where a familiar face greeted him, a friendly smile that had welcomed countless patrons over the years. "Well, if it isn't Evan, it's been ages." The voice belonged to Betty, the diner's owner, who had known him since he was a boy. She wiped her hands on her apron, her eyes sparkling with recognition. "Hey, Betty." Evan forced a smile, even as a wave of nostalgia washed over him. "I've been away for a while." "Looks like you've grown up. How's the ranger life treating you?" she asked, pouring him a cup of coffee. "It's good, busy but good. I was wondering about Jamie. Is she around?" His heart raced at the thought of her name. Betty's expression shifted, a hint of concern spreading across her features. "Well, she's around, but it's been a bit tough for her since her mom passed." Evan felt a pang of guilt hit him like a physical blow. He hadn't heard about Jamie's mother. He had been so absorbed in his own life that he had lost touch. "I didn't know. I'm sorry to hear that." "Yeah, it was a rough time for her. She's been keeping to herself more lately, working at the community center." Betty's eyes softened, as if she understood the weight of the conversation. "I think it would do her good to see you, though. You two had a special bond once. Maybe it's time to reach out." Evan nodded, the reality of the situation settling heavily in his chest. Jamie had been through so much, and yet here he was, hesitating to step back into her life. What right did he have to disrupt her world after all these years? But deep down, he knew he had to try. "Thanks, Betty. I appreciate it," he managed to say, taking a sip of the hot coffee, its warmth spreading through him. As he left the diner, Evan felt a mix of determination and apprehension coursing through him. The community center wasn't far away. He could feel the pull of fate guiding him toward this next step. The sun hung high in the sky as he made his way through the familiar streets, past the park where he and Jamie had spent countless afternoons. He reached the center, a modest building filled with the sounds of children laughing and adults chatting. The vibrant colors of the mural on the side of the building brightened his spirits. This place had always been a hub of activity, a place where community flourished. As he approached the entrance, he took a moment to compose himself, mentally preparing for what lay ahead. Inside, it was bustling with energy. People were organizing events, children were playing, and the air was filled with a sense of purpose. Evan felt a rush of nostalgia. This was the heart of their town, where friendships were forged and laughter echoed. He walked through the maze of rooms, searching for a sign of Jamie. Finally, he spotted her. She was standing in the corner of a room, chatting with a group of volunteers, her hair still wild, just as he remembered, though now it framed a face that bore the marks of time and hardship. Evan's breath caught in his throat. She looked different, yet unmistakably the same. Summoning his courage, he approached her, heart pounding in his chest. "Jamie?" Her head turned, and for a moment time stood still. Their eyes locked, and he saw a flicker of recognition before her expression shifted to confusion. "Evan? Is that really you?" He nodded, suddenly unsure of what to say next. I came back to see how you were doing." Her gaze softened, and he could see the memories washing over her as well. "I didn't expect to see you here. It's been, what, over a decade?" "Yeah, it has." He took a deep breath. "I heard about your mum. I'm really sorry." Her smile faltered, and he could see the pain behind her eyes. "Thank you. It was hard. She was my rock." They stood in silence for a moment, the air thick with unspoken words. Memories flooded back, shared laughter, dreams of the future, and the bitter fight that had torn them apart. Evan felt a surge of regret for the years lost, but he knew he had to push through. "I found something in the woods," he ventured, trying to break the heaviness of the moment. "A dugout with old notebooks. Your notebooks." Her eyes widened, surprise and curiosity mingling in her expression. "My notebooks? From school?" "Yeah, they brought back so many memories. I realized how much I missed our friendship and how foolish we were to let a fight come between us." Jamie looked down, her fingers fidgeting with a bracelet on her wrist. "I've thought about that too. I wish we could have talked things through, but it felt like everything changed so fast." "It did," Evan acknowledged, the weight of shared regret hanging between them. "But I don't want to dwell on the past. I want to make it right. I want to be friends again if you'll have me." Her gaze met his, and he felt a flicker of hope. "I'd like that. I really would." They stood there, the moment stretching out between them like a bridge reaching across years of silence. The past still loomed large, but the possibility of a new beginning sparkled in the air, igniting a sense of warmth in his heart. "I've missed you," Evan admitted, the sincerity of his words slipping out, raw and unfiltered. "I missed you too," she replied, her voice steady yet soft. "I've missed the way we could talk about anything, how easy it was to be ourselves together." Evan smiled, feeling the bond they once shared begin to resurface, slowly knitting the frayed edges of their friendship back together. "What if we start with coffee, just like old times?" She chuckled, a sound that tugged at his heart. "I'd like that." As they stepped outside, the sun bathed them in warm light. For the first time in years, Evan felt a sense of hope. The road ahead would be filled with challenges as they navigated the complexities of their past, but they would face it together. The weight of regret slowly lifted, replaced with the promise of renewal. Together they walked side by side, the familiar streets of their hometown stretching out before them. Each step echoed with the memories of laughter shared, dreams once deferred, and the potential for healing. As they reached the diner, Evan felt a flutter of excitement mingled with nerves. The bell rang softly as they entered, and the comforting ambience enveloped them. They slid into a booth, the worn vinyl feeling reassuring beneath them. Betty was quick to greet them again, her smile wide as she poured them both coffee. "Back for more, I see," she teased, her eyes sparkling. Evan felt a warmth bloom in his chest. It was nice to be back, to feel a sense of belonging. As they sipped their coffee, Evan and Jamie fell into an easy rhythm of conversation. They reminisced about their childhood adventures, laughing over shared memories that had once felt so distant. Stories flowed easily, each one a reminder of the bond they had forged in the innocence of youth. "Remember that time we tried to camp out in your backyard, but ended up running inside because of that thunderstorm?" Jamie laughed, her eyes gleaming with the light of the memory. Evan chuckled, nodding. "I thought we were going to be struck by lightning. I still remember us huddled under your bed, too scared to even look outside. I was convinced the storm was a sign from the universe that we weren't meant to be campers," Jamie teased, her laughter infectious. "I think we were just meant to be kids," Evan replied, his tone gentle. He could feel the warmth of their shared memories enveloping them, a sense of nostalgia mixed with the thrill of rekindling their friendship. As they continued to share stories, Evan felt the walls he had built around himself begin to crumble. The fears and insecurities that had kept him at a distance from Jamie melted away. They talked about their paths since the days of their youth, how Jamie had pursued her dreams even in the face of adversity, how she had become a guiding light in the community, helping others through her work at the center. "I've found a real passion for helping kids who need support," she explained, her eyes brightening. "It's been challenging, especially after my mum passed, but I know she would want me to keep going." Evan felt a swell of admiration for her. "You've always been strong, Jamie. I knew you would do something incredible." She smiled, a mixture of gratitude and humility on her face. "It's been hard, but I'm finding my way. I just wish I had someone to share it with." The words hung in the air between them, resonating with both unspoken truths and the weight of their shared past. Evan felt the ache of connection deep within him, a longing to bridge the gaps that had formed over the years. "Maybe we can help each other navigate this," he suggested, his voice steady. "It's been a long time since I've felt this connected to someone." Her eyes searched his for a moment, a flicker of vulnerability crossing her face. "I'd like that. It's lonely sometimes, you know. I've missed having someone I can trust to talk to about everything." Evan nodded, understanding the depth of her words. He had felt the same isolation since their friendship had fractured. The years had been filled with struggles and uncertainties, but he had always held on to the hope that one day they would find their way back to one another. As they finished their coffee, the conversation flowed effortlessly, each moment drawing them closer together. Evan felt lighter, as if the burdens of the past were beginning to lift. He could see glimpses of the girl he had once known, the adventurous, spirited Jamie who had dreamed of being on stage, of sharing her talents with the world. "Do you still think about acting?" he asked, curiosity creeping into his voice. Jamie's smile faltered slightly, a shadow passing over her features. "Sometimes. I loved it. But after Mum got sick, I put those dreams aside. I thought I needed to focus on being practical, helping the family." Evan's heart ached at her words. He could see the passion still flickering in her eyes, even if she had hidden it away for so long. "You should pursue it again. You have a gift, Jamie. You deserve to share it with the world." Her gaze dropped, a hint of doubt creeping into her expression. "It's hard to believe that now. Life has taken me in such a different direction. I don't even know where to start." "Maybe we could figure it out together. We could take a class or find a local theater group," Evan suggested, feeling a surge of inspiration himself. "You shouldn't have to give up on your dreams. You still have that spark." She looked up at him, surprise mingled with hope in her eyes. "You really think I could do that?" "I know you could," he affirmed, leaning forward earnestly. "You've always had that fire. I've seen it in the way you light up when you talk about something you love." "Let's not let the past hold us back anymore." Jamie considered his words, a smile slowly returning to her lips. "Maybe you're right. It feels nice just to think about it again." They left the diner, the sun beginning its descent, casting a golden glow over the town. As they walked along the familiar streets, their conversations became more profound, touching on the struggles they had faced over the years. Evan shared his experiences as a park ranger, the beauty of the wilderness, the solace it provided, and the way it had shaped his understanding of himself. "It's a different kind of freedom out there," he explained, his eyes lighting up with passion. "The forest teaches you so much about resilience, about finding your way through the darkness." Jamie listened intently, and for the first time in years, Evan felt truly seen. He had been so focused on his job, on the responsibilities that weighed heavily on him, that he had forgotten the joy of sharing his passions with someone who understood him. As they walked, they began to explore the small town, visiting the park where they had spent countless afternoons. The laughter of children filled the air, and Evan felt a wave of nostalgia wash over him. "Remember when we built that massive tree fort?" he asked, a grin spreading across his face. "We thought we were invincible up there," Jamie laughed, the sound genuine and unrestrained. "How could I forget? We were convinced it was our secret castle, and no one could touch it." Their laughter echoed through the park, drawing the attention of a few passers-by who glanced their way, curious smiles on their faces. It felt so natural, this easy banter, as if they had never been apart. "I've missed this," Jamie admitted, her expression softening. "Just being able to talk without everything feeling so heavy. It feels good to laugh again." Evan's heart swelled at her words. "We've got to do this more often. I don't want to lose touch again. Life is too short for that." As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the grass, they found a bench to sit on, the familiar view evoking memories of their childhood. They watched as children played, their laughter echoing in the warm air. "I wish we could go back to being those kids for just a moment," Jamie mused, a hint of wistfulness in her voice. Evan turned to her, sincerity in his gaze. "We can't go back, but we can create new memories. We can find a way to integrate our past with our present." She nodded, her eyes sparkling as they sparked with understanding. "I'd like that. I feel like it's time for me to rediscover who I am, and I want you to be a part of that journey." Evan smiled, warmth spreading through him. The prospect of new memories, laughter, and perhaps even shared dreams ignited a flicker of excitement in his heart. There was something undeniably special about the connection they were rebuilding, a friendship forged anew out of the ashes of their past. As the evening set in, the sky transformed into a canvas of oranges and pinks, the glow enveloping them in a warm embrace. They sat there side by side, feeling the weight of the world lift from their shoulders, replaced by a sense of hope and possibility. In that moment, Evan knew that despite the challenges that lay ahead, they would face them together. The journey of remembrance had become a journey of renewal, and he was grateful for the chance to reconnect with a part of his life that had once defined him. As they prepared to leave the park, Jamie looked over at him, her expression serious yet hopeful. "Thank you for being brave enough to reach out. I know it wasn't easy for you." Evan shrugged, a smile playing on his lips. "It was worth it. You're worth it." With that, they made their way back toward the community center, the sun dipping below the horizon, leaving behind a soft twilight glow. Each step felt lighter, more purposeful, as they began to weave the threads of their lives back together. The past would always be a part of them, but now it felt more like a tapestry, interwoven with hope, friendship, and the promise of new beginnings. Together, they would navigate the complexities of their lives, embracing the journey ahead hand in hand. As Evan and Jamie stood at the entrance of the community center, the warmth of the building enveloped them like a cozy embrace. The sounds of laughter and chatter spilled out into the night, blending with the lingering scent of the evening's activity. It felt as if the universe was welcoming them back into the fold, inviting them to take part in the vibrant life that surrounded them. "Shall we?" Evan asked, gesturing toward the door with a playful smile. "Absolutely," Jamie replied, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. They stepped inside, and the familiar sights and sounds washed over Evan like a wave of nostalgia. He could see groups of people gathered in small clusters, some setting up for an upcoming event, while others simply enjoyed each other's company. The colorful murals on the walls, along with the photos of community events from years past, reminded him of the rich tapestry of life woven into this space. As they navigated through the bustling crowd, Evan felt a sense of belonging that he hadn't experienced in years. It was comforting to be surrounded by the people he had grown up with, yet at the same time, he was acutely aware of the weight of the past that lingered between him and Jamie. The connection they were rebuilding felt fragile, yet fiercely alive, like a flickering flame in a gentle breeze. "Hey, look over there." Jamie pointed toward a group of children gathered around a table covered in art supplies. "I remember when we used to make crafts like that. We had the best time." Evan chuckled, recalling the colorful messes they would create. "And the glitter. I think I still have some stuck in my hair from those days. It was impossible to get rid of." Jamie laughed, and for a moment, the world around them faded, leaving just the two of them and the warmth of their shared memories. They approached the table, and the children greeted them with eager smiles and wide eyes. "Can you help us?" one little girl asked, holding up a half-finished painting of a rainbow. "Of course, what do you need help with?" Jamie knelt down, her enthusiasm infectious. Evan watched her interact with the kids, feeling a swell of admiration. She had a natural gift for connecting with people, and it was clear that the children adored her. As they assisted the kids, Evan joined in, offering encouragement and sharing ideas on how to improve their artwork. The laughter and excitement filled the air, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of joy bubbling within him. It was a small moment, but it was significant, an affirmation of their shared history and the bond they were beginning to rebuild. After a while, they stepped away from the table, leaving the children to finish their projects. Jamie turned to Evan, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "That was so much fun. I forgot how much I missed being around kids. They have such a pure outlook on life." "It's refreshing, isn't it?" Evan replied. "Their energy is contagious. It reminds me of how we used to see the world, full of possibilities." Jamie nodded, her gaze thoughtful. "I think that's what we need to remember as we move forward. We can't let the weight of our pasts limit us. There's still so much we can create." As they continued to explore the community center, they stumbled upon a bulletin board filled with flyers for upcoming events. Jamie's eyes lit up as she spotted an advertisement for an audition for a local theater production. "Look at this," she exclaimed, pointing at the flyer. "They're holding auditions for a play next week. I've always wanted to try out for something like this." Evan watched her, his heart racing at the thought of Jamie pursuing her passion for acting. "You should go for it," he encouraged, hoping to ignite the spark he had seen in her earlier. "You have the talent, and you've always loved performing. This could be your chance." "I don't know." She hesitated, a hint of doubt creeping into her voice. "What if I'm not good enough? What if they don't want me?" "Jamie, you've always been good enough. You've never needed anyone's validation to shine. You just have to believe in yourself," Evan replied, his voice steady and reassuring. "This is about you rediscovering what you love. Don't let fear hold you back." She looked at him, her expression shifting from doubt to determination. "You're right. I can't let my fears control me any longer. I want to do this." "Then let's make a plan," Evan suggested enthusiastically. "We can practice together. I'll even help you with lines if you want. You won't be alone in this." Jamie smiled, the warmth of his support washing over her. "I'd love that. Thank you for believing in me." As they pinned the flyer onto the bulletin board, Evan felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had always admired Jamie's talent, and now he was determined to help her reclaim it. It felt as if they were both rediscovering pieces of themselves they had lost along the way. Their conversation continued to flow as they discussed various aspects of the audition, what role she might want to play, how she could prepare, and the excitement of stepping back onto a stage. With each idea exchanged, Evan could see Jamie's confidence growing, and it filled him with a sense of pride. Eventually, they made their way to a quieter corner of the community center where they could hear each other better. The soft hum of conversation surrounded them, but it felt comforting, like the background music to their reunion. "I've been thinking," Jamie said, her expression serious, "about the things we talked about earlier, how we've both changed." "Yeah?" Evan prompted, curious about where she was going. "I want to find ways to incorporate acting back into my life, but also to figure out who I am now," she continued. "I don't want to get lost in just one thing again. I want to explore different parts of myself." Evan nodded, appreciating her honesty. "That makes sense. It's all about balance, right? We can support each other in discovering those different facets." "Exactly," she exclaimed. It feels like we're on the same journey, even if it's in different directions. Then let's be each other's guides, he suggested, a smile spreading across his face. I'll help you with acting, and you can help me find more ways to connect with the community. We can both step outside our comfort zones. Jamie's eyes lit up with excitement. I'd love that. We can create a supportive environment for each other. As they planned out their next steps, Evan felt the warmth of hope begin to blossom anew. They were beginning to intertwine their lives once more, each thread representing a promise of growth and exploration. As the evening progressed, they moved through the community center, engaging with the people around them, sharing stories, and rediscovering the joy of connection. Evan noticed the way Jamie lit up when she interacted with others, her natural charisma shining through. It was a reminder of why he had always been drawn to her spirit. They spent hours laughing and reminiscing, their conversation effortlessly shifting from light-hearted banter to deeper discussions about their aspirations and fears. Jamie opened up about her insecurities, and Evan shared the challenges he faced as a park ranger, navigating the balance between solitude and community. I think part of being a ranger is learning how to connect with people while also respecting the need for space, Evan reflected. It's a delicate dance. I get that, Jamie replied, her gaze thoughtful. I think the same applies to acting. It's about connecting with the audience while also being true to yourself. As the night wore on, Evan could see the sense of purpose and excitement building within Jamie. Her laughter felt like a balm, soothing the wounds of the past, and as they continued to explore their shared journey, he felt a profound sense of gratitude. Eventually, they found themselves back at the entrance of the community center, the night air cool against their skin. The stars twinkled above them, casting a gentle glow on the world around. Tonight was amazing, Jamie said, turning to Evan with a smile. I can't believe how much we've talked and laughed. It was, Evan agreed, feeling the warmth of the moment sink deep within him. I've missed this more than I can say. As they stood there, the silence between them felt comfortable, laden with the promise of new beginnings. Neither of them wanted to break the spell of the evening, but they both knew there was much to explore in the days ahead. Let's do this again soon, Jamie suggested, her eyes bright with anticipation. Definitely. Let's keep the momentum going, Evan replied, his heart racing with excitement. As they exchanged a lingering glance, Evan felt something shift within him, an understanding that the journey they were embarking on together was not just about reclaiming their friendship, but about rediscovering their individual selves as well. The past had shaped them, but it would not define them. With that thought in mind, they promised to meet again soon, each step forward a testament to their commitment to rekindle not only their friendship, but the pieces of themselves they had lost along the way. As they said their goodbyes, the lingering sense of hope hung in the air, a beautiful reminder that sometimes life offers a second chance, and all they had to do was reach for it together. Evan and Jamie's lives continued to intertwine in beautiful and unexpected ways after the opening night of the play. As Jamie stepped into her role, Evan found himself immersed in the local theatre scene, offering support and encouragement while also deepening his own connections within the community. Every performance brought a new wave of excitement. Jamie transformed each time she stepped onto the stage, embodying her character with an energy that captivated the audience. Evan watched, his heart swelling with pride as he saw her confidence blossom. The way she commanded the stage reminded him of the spirited girl he had grown up with, the one who always believed in the magic of storytelling. After a particularly successful weekend of performances, they found themselves sitting together at a small cafe, celebrating over cups of steaming coffee. The ambiance was cozy, and the air was filled with the aroma of freshly baked pastries. I can't believe how well it's going, Jamie exclaimed, her eyes shining. Every time I step on stage, it feels like I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. I knew you had it in you, Evan replied, a wide grin on his face. Your passion is contagious. It's inspiring to see you light up like this. Jamie leaned back in her chair, her smile softening. It feels amazing to connect with people through my art. I've missed that so much. Thank you for believing in me, Evan. You've been my biggest supporter. Evan felt a rush of warmth at her words. "I'm just happy to see you thriving. You deserve this." As they sipped their coffee, a sense of contentment enveloped them. The world outside the cafe continued to bustle, but in this moment everything felt perfect. They shared stories of their childhood, reminiscing about the dreams they had once held and the paths they had taken. "You know, I never thought I would take the leap into acting again," Jamie admitted, her voice thoughtful. "But you've shown me that it's worth it to chase what makes you happy." "What about you, Evan?" Jamie asked, leaning forward. "You've been so supportive of me, but I want to know more about what you're feeling these days. Are you satisfied with your work as a park ranger?" He paused, contemplating her question. "Honestly, it's been a mixed bag," he said finally. "I love being out in nature, and I find peace there, but sometimes I feel isolated. I miss the days when we could share our dreams and support each other." Jamie nodded, her expression understanding. "I get that. It's easy to feel alone in our respective paths, but we don't have to. We can lean on each other." Evan smiled, the idea resonating deeply within him. "You're right, and I want to be more involved in the community as well. I've been thinking about starting a program to help kids connect with nature, teach them about the outdoors. Maybe we could collaborate on something, mix your love for performance with my passion for nature." Jamie's eyes brightened at the suggestion. "That's a fantastic idea. We could do workshops where kids learn about nature and then write their own plays or stories based on what they discover. It would combine both of our strengths." "I love that," Evan agreed, excitement bubbling up within him. It could inspire a new generation to appreciate the world around them, just like we did as kids. As they brainstormed ideas, the cafe buzzed with activity, but their little corner felt like a world of its own. They sketched out plans for the program, envisioning how it could unfold. The prospect of working together again ignited a spark in both of them, and they could feel the energy in the air, an unmistakable sense of purpose. Over the following weeks, they met regularly to refine their plans. Jamie would share her experiences from the theater, while Evan recounted tales from the trails. They each had their own journey, but now they were intertwining them in a way that felt meaningful and impactful. As the program took shape, they discussed logistics, outreach strategies, and the best ways to engage the community. Word began to spread, and soon they were connecting with local schools and organizations, garnering interest from parents eager to involve their children in something that would foster creativity and a love for nature. As excitement built, Jamie prepared for the next phase of her theater career, a regional competition that could open doors to even bigger opportunities. "I can't believe how far I've come since we reconnected," she said one evening, her voice filled with awe. "This competition could change everything." "It's a huge step," Evan encouraged. "But you're ready for it. Just remember to stay true to yourself. That's what makes you special." With each passing day, Jamie's confidence grew. She spent late nights rehearsing monologues and perfecting her lines, while Evan supported her through every step. He watched as she transformed into a fierce performer, embodying her characters with depth and emotion. As competition day approached, Jamie's nerves began to surface. "What if I don't make the cut? What if I freeze on stage?" she asked, anxiety creeping into her voice. Evan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You've put in the work, and you've already achieved so much. Trust yourself. Remember how far you've come. This is just another step in your journey." The morning of the competition, Jamie stood in front of the mirror, taking deep breaths as she practiced her lines. Evan was there, pacing nearby, radiating encouragement. "You've got this," he repeated, his voice steady and calming. "Just be you." With his support, Jamie found the courage to step into her own skin. When she finally took to the stage, she felt a rush of adrenaline. The lights shone down on her as she performed, and for the first time in a long time she felt a sense of freedom wash over her. After the performance, she rushed off stage, her heart racing with exhilaration. "I did it! I can't believe I did it!" she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with joy. Evan grinned, pride flooding his chest. "You were phenomenal. I knew you would shine." As they stepped into the fresh air outside the theater, a sense of possibility hung heavily in the atmosphere. The competition had been an incredible experience for Jamie, and they both knew it was just one part of her journey. "Whatever happens next, I'm just grateful for this moment," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "Thank you for being there for me through all of it." "I'll always be here for you," Evan replied, sincerity radiating from him. "Together, we can face anything." As their friendship deepened, and they continued to work on their program together, Evan felt the boundaries that had once held him back slip away. He was embracing his own passions while supporting Jamie's dreams, and together they forged a path that was uniquely theirs. In the weeks that followed, they settled into a new routine, balancing their individual pursuits with their shared vision of inspiring the community. Their bond strengthened, woven together by shared experiences, creativity, and an unshakable support system. As the first workshop approached, excitement bubbled beneath the surface. They stood side by side in the park, setting up for the event, their hearts brimming with anticipation. Families began to gather, and the joyful noise of children filled the air. "Are you ready for this?" Jamie asked, her eyes sparkling with a mix of nerves and excitement. "More than ever," Evan replied, his heart racing with anticipation. "This is what we've been working toward." As they welcomed the families, the energy in the park felt electric, a beautiful reminder that they had created something meaningful together. The journey of rediscovering themselves and their passions had brought them closer, and they were ready to share that gift with their community. Hand in hand, they stepped into the future together, the promise of new adventures and endless possibilities stretching out before them, like the wide-open trails they loved so much. In that moment, they knew they were not just reconnecting with their pasts, but carving out a bright new future, one filled with hope, laughter, and a shared commitment to inspire others. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the park as families gathered for the first workshop, organized by Evan and Jamie. The air was alive with laughter and chatter, creating a vibrant atmosphere filled with anticipation. Colorful banners fluttered in the breeze, marking the space they had transformed into a hub of creativity and exploration. Evan stood at the entrance, welcoming families with a sincere smile. He felt a deep sense of purpose wash over him as he watched children run around, their faces alive with excitement. Each eager face reminded him of the joy he had felt as a child, the thrill of adventure and discovery. "Are you ready for this?" Jamie asked, approaching him, her clipboard in hand and wearing a vibrant shirt adorned with nature prints. "More than ever," Evan replied, glancing at the setup they had orchestrated. Tables were filled with art supplies, nature-themed books, and activities designed to spark creativity. As the workshop began, Jamie led the children in a fun icebreaker game that encouraged them to share their favorite outdoor experiences. Evan watched, his heart swelling with pride as her natural charisma drew the kids in, their laughter ringing through the air. It warmed him to see her guiding the next generation to appreciate nature's beauty. Once the icebreaker wrapped up, they transitioned to the first activity, a nature scavenger hunt. Jamie divided the kids into small teams, handing out lists of items to find, such as colorful leaves and interesting stones. The excitement bubbled in the children as they dashed off into the park to gather their treasures. After the scavenger hunt, the kids returned, arms filled with discoveries. Jamie encouraged them to share their findings with the group, and the park filled with stories of adventures and newfound friendships. Evan couldn't help but smile, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. This was what he had always sought as a park ranger, the ability to inspire others and create a sense of belonging. As the workshop progressed, they moved on to the next activity, writing short nature-inspired plays based on the treasures the kids had collected. Jamie guided them through the process, encouraging creativity and teamwork. Evan wandered between the groups, offering encouragement, marveling at how quickly the kids embraced the challenge. After several spirited hours of activities, it was time for the kids to present their plays. The atmosphere shifted to one of anticipation as the children took turns sharing their creations. Jamie beamed with pride, watching the kids shine as they performed, each story uniquely reflecting their imagination. When it was Evan's turn to speak, he felt excitement surge within him. "You all did an amazing job. Each story was special, and I'm so proud of how you worked together." The applause erupted from parents and community members, and Evan glanced at Jamie, who was clapping enthusiastically, her eyes sparkling with happiness. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, families began to gather their belongings. Evan and Jamie took a moment to step back and soak in the atmosphere, the laughter, the joy, the sense of community they had helped foster. "This was incredible," Jamie said, turning to Evan, her face flushed with excitement. "I can't believe how well everything went. The kids were amazing." "They were," Evan agreed, feeling a swell of pride. "We made a real impact today. It felt good to see everyone come together." Jamie took a deep breath, looking around at the families packing up. "Thank you for believing in this vision. I couldn't have done it without you." "Right back at you," Evan replied, a smile spreading across his face. "You brought the energy and creativity. This was all you." As they cleaned up, the sky deepened into shades of purple and orange. They worked side by side, their conversation flowing easily, reflecting on the day's events and the laughter they had shared. "I can't wait to do this again," Jamie said, her eyes bright with anticipation. "We can build on what we learned today and make it even better." Evan nodded, optimism bubbling within him. "Absolutely. We could do themed workshops or invite local artists to collaborate." As their cleanup wrapped up, they stood together, watching the sunset, a comfortable silence settling between them. "Today felt like a turning point," Jamie said softly. "It reminds me how important it is to keep pursuing what makes us happy." Evan turned to her, feeling the weight of her words. "It's true. We've both come so far, and I'm grateful to share this journey with you." As they made their way back to their cars, stars began to twinkle above, each one a reminder of the dreams and possibilities that lay ahead. Hand in hand, they stepped into the future together, ready to embrace whatever came next, filled with hope, laughter, and a commitment to inspire each other and their community. As Evan and Jamie drove home from the park, the events of the day replayed in their minds. The sun had set, leaving the sky painted in deep shades of indigo and silver, with stars beginning to twinkle like promises of new adventures. There was a palpable sense of joy and accomplishment in the air, the feeling that they had embarked on something truly meaningful together. "Can you believe how many kids showed up?" Jamie exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement. "We had more than we expected." "I know, it was incredible to see everyone so engaged," Evan replied, glancing at her with a smile. "You really brought out their creativity today." Jamie beamed at the compliment, enthusiasm lighting up her features. "I didn't realize how much I missed working with kids. Their energy is contagious. It reminded me of our childhood, how we used to explore the woods and create stories together." Evan nodded, memories flooding back of their adventures. "We had some great times. It's nice to see that spirit alive again, not just in us, but in the kids too." As they drove along winding roads, a comfortable silence settled between them, hinting at unspoken feelings about their evolving relationship. "What do you think the next workshop should focus on?" Jamie asked, breaking the quiet. "We could do something themed around storytelling or focus on the seasons and how they change nature." Evan smiled, enjoying her excitement. "Both sound great. We could encourage the kids to write short stories or plays based on the seasons. It could be fun to have them perform again." "Exactly," Jamie replied, her eyes sparkling. "And we could include outdoor games that relate to the themes. It'll keep it fun and interactive." As they continued brainstorming, Evan felt warmth spreading between them, their conversation flowing effortlessly. He realized how deeply he valued her presence in his life. Jamie inspired him to dream bigger and embrace the beauty of connection. "Jamie," he began, his tone becoming more sincere, "I really appreciate everything you've brought into my life lately. You've helped me reconnect with my passion for nature and community in ways I didn't think were possible." Her expression softened as she turned to him. "Evan, you've done the same for me. You've helped me rediscover my love for storytelling and performance. I didn't think I could feel this alive again." They exchanged a look that hinted at something deeper, a realization that their bond was growing stronger. "Maybe we should celebrate this journey," Evan suggested. "Not just with workshops, but with the both of us. We could plan something special, just the two of us." "Like a date?" Jamie asked, surprised but excited. "Yeah, something like that," Evan replied, his heart racing. "I'd love to spend more time with you outside of our projects." "I'd like that too," she admitted, her voice softening. "I think it's time we take this next step." As they pulled into Jamie's driveway, excitement bubbled between them. They both knew something special was unfolding, a new chapter in their story, where their friendship had blossomed into something deeper. "Let's plan that date soon," Evan said as they stepped out of the car, the night air filled with possibility. "I can't wait to see what adventures await us." "Me too," Jamie replied, her heart racing. "Tonight was just the beginning." With light in their hearts and stars twinkling above, they made their way inside, ready to embrace new possibilities, an adventure of love, creativity, and a connection that would forever change their lives.